Windows Movie Maker, man, just render that shit out. Yeah.
Is that what you're gonna do? All right.
That's what I usually do.
So this is episode 3 of the Amused with the World podcast, and I've been recording for about 10 seconds here. I don't know if Mike knew, but I just went ahead and clicked record without his consent, as usual.
Yeah, you do a lot of things without consent.
Wow. That's kind of gay. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Dude, it's not gay
but,
if dicks don't touch.
It's not gay if you don't enjoy it.
That's true, too. That's also true.
Just trying to adjust my microphone here. So anyways, this is episode 3 of Amused with the World podcast. It's September now. I kind of want to play some Earth, Wind, and Fire. But
well, you know, it was September
later.
When we originally uploaded episode 2.
You're right. Shit.
So we can't just kind of go into, you know, it's September now. Because it already was September.
Oh, you're right.
So
and on that note,
we're midway into September now. We're getting there.
Can we just do the intro?
We might as well.
Okay.
Let's just do it.
Hey, things are tough and people crazy. Hey, hey, times are hard and no one's smiling. Hey, you should be laughing. You should be laughing. You should be smiling. You should be smiling.
The world is tough and people are confused. Now is the perfect time to stay amused. So from Jason and all the good folks here at the studio, we ask you to let us help you.
And we're
stay
back.
amused with the world.
I want to give a quick shout out to Matt K, as
Matt
he
K.
goes by. Matt Kaufman, a good friend of mine, created that intro for us, and it is beautiful, and we love every second of it. And it's going to be on all of our episodes now. So if you want to know where that sick, nasty, funky, fresh beat came from, you need to hit up Matt K. We will have him on the show at a later date, I'm sure.
Hopefully.
But for now, we're not, because he lives in Columbus now, because he's a jerk.
Yeah, where you at, Matt?
Where you at, Matt?
Come on, man. We need you on this, man. You're the life and blood of this podcast. Where you at?
Yeah, man. Oh. But for real, though, this is Jason Hartzler, and this is
Stifler. I'm here as well.
Stiffy.
I'm going to be here, like I said, in episode 2.
Yeah. You're here again, man.
I'm here
A week
again.
later.
What big surprise, right? Like, I couldn't have showed up. I maybe I wasn't going to be here today. You know, maybe I had plans, but, you know, I fit it into my busy schedule.
We all know that's not true.
That's not true.
You
You're
know,
right.
you never have plans. You never have plans.
It's right. I do.
I mean,
Let's just self-deprecate
your plans
some more.
to sit in your room, drink vodka cran, and play PUBG or whatever you fucking call it.
Yeah.
That video game that these kids are playing these days. I don't know.
That's
what it
my
is.
life, man. Just vodka, cran, and PUBG.
Yeah. What else is there?
There's not much more to life, if I can be blatantly honest
I
with
mean,
you.
there's a little more, but you know,
Yeah.
whatever. So this is episode 3. I'm not entirely sure what we're gonna talk about today. But I mean, I assume it has to do with fall coming around.
Fall, yeah.
You know, leaves are changing.
Yeah. So that means
things are happening.
Everything's different, right? Because
Yes.
the leaves are changing.
But you
Weather's
do.
getting a little bit colder.
I mean, like when fall comes around, everybody, you notice this, especially like you see more couples start forming, right?
Yeah.
The summer flings end.
It's getting colder. You know, people want to be close together.
They
Generate some body
yes,
heat.
They start coupling up.
That's right.
You know, come fall.
Yeah.
And into winter, and they like start, you know, that whole thing.
Yeah,
That's definitely
right.
a thing. The whole seasonal changes and stuff. Also, seasonal depression starts
Also,
coming around.
pumpkin spice lattes coming around.
Ugg boots.
Yeah, let's give that a nice applause up in here. Jason's sipping his coffee, so he can't applaud with me. But pumpkin spice.
There it is. You can't let me
There
applaud
it is.
because I clap too loud.
Oh,
I have the loudest clap. And I am actually proud of that.
because you have such massively large hands. You just have that right, like.
I just have long fingers. True story.
I can see him right now.
Today we are not in Studio J. We're actually no longer in my bedroom.
We're in a different location.
We're in a different room today.
It's a surprise podcast, right?
Everything's changed.
We've moved locations.
Yes.
I hope we don't sound like ass. I hope there's no like really bad.
You don't hear the
audio associated with
reverberations
this.
of
No.
our high quality.
This is our
refrigerator back
dining
there.
area that we're in right now. It's our foyer, right? Right. So guests come in the door, they see our foyer and our dining area in this fancy upscale apartment that we have here.
You know, I actually had a thought the other day when we were both. We picked up the hobby of cooking fish in different ways for a while there. We had a couple
That's
weeks
right.
where we were each cooking fish our own way,
Mhm.
and then like testing each other's fish out. That's like a weird thing to do, but it's something we did. And I noticed it'd be funny that if we like have like be waiters
Yeah.
in our own apartment and like rent our space out for an hour to like a couple, and we serve them our home cooked meals,
that'd be the
and they
biggest
get to like
disappointment.
rent out my room and watch Netflix on my sweet TV. I'm like, dude, that's better service than most restaurants around here. We could charge like $50 cover charge, and then they come in here
We
flat
could
rate on
cause-
anything. We'll cook anything in our refrigerator that's available, which would be like 3 things.
Yeah, like
There's
ramen
like
noodles.
fish, eggs, and like sausage in there.
We got some ramen noodles too, if anyone's interested.
We cook some really high quality ramen noodles.
like
so
super high quality microwave ramen noodles.
we could at least cook it on the stove
Hey,
for them. I mean,
don't
they're
knock
paying
until
top
you try
dollar
it,
for
right?
this.
Okay, you can pay a little extra for the stovetop ramen, but you know we're gonna charge a flat rate for the microwave stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
We
that's
are.
true.
Yeah.
I mean, there's different levels of what you're willing to pay,
Yeah.
and you know, you just pick your level, and we will do anything we can to accommodate that level.
You know, to a certain.
I thought
point,
it'd be
right?
fun, you know, get this nice.
You know,
get
if you're-
a room to yourself.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. This is why I thought we'd make money. Is there's like a hidden menu, right?
Mm-hmm.
That we don't talk about, but it's known that we serve alcohol and we don't ask for cards or IDs, right? So like you get a lot of people that are like 18, 19, 20 coming in with their significant other for a nice romantic day. We'll light some candles for you guys. You come in, you sit down, we serve you whatever meal you want that's available to us in our refrigerator for a flat rate
Yeah.
of probably like $50 to $75.
Cheap.
And then we'll
Cheap.
serve you alcohol on top of that, and we won't charge you for it, and we won't ask for your ID. We will just assume that you're 21 because that's what nice people do. They don't lie.
It's a
People don't lie.
judgment-free zone here.
People don't drink underage. It's just
Yeah,
they don't do it.
They don't do it.
So
ever.
Yeah.
Nobody waits until they're 21, right? I mean, everyone does.
I mean, yeah, I certainly waited.
everyone does. Everyone waits until like a certain point in their life. You know, like I
I
gotta
say
have
that.
alcohol.
I say that as I sit in a room with 2 underage people. But you know,
Can be more blatantly.
isn't that a great idea though?
Yeah, it is.
I mean, it's funny that my mind will get trapped in a stupid, retarded idea like that.
I think
for a
maybe
second.
the city might come after us though. You know,
we
running a
don't
business.
advertise it. We'll just be like, well, we had some friends over and they might have gifted us some cash.
Yeah, they might.
It's whatever. It's not a business.
The IRS doesn't have to know about it.
They
Definitely
don't.
not.
No, it's under the table. It's a gift.
The SEC doesn't have to know about it either.
What would the FCC have to do with
The
it?
SEC.
SEC?
Yeah.
Like the Southeastern Conference?
Yeah,
Like
that,
college
that
football?
SEC. Uh huh.
Yeah, what would they have to do with that?
Yeah, they could just kind of regulate like beer sales, beer sales and like concessions in the football stadium.
Okay.
I may have gotten my U.S. government departments confused.
You
here.
got your acronyms mixed up there, bud. There's too many acronyms, though, for real, though.
There might be.
But on a more serious note, that was just a daydream of mine. But today, I was going to talk about... Fall's got me thinking about falls beforehand. Because when you get older, you start... you no longer, like, remember specific days. I've told you this.
Yeah.
That you, like, start to remember things as, like, a season of it happening. So, like, I'm not saying I'm getting really old, but you start to associate memories with specific time periods in which the weather was a certain way. Fall always makes me feel nostalgic for fall, right? That's funny how that works.
Yeah, everyone remembers their first pumpkin spice latte.
Especially white girls. It's their fave. I'm so sorry, ladies and gentlemen. He's had a few. Oh, I kid. But no, it had me thinking about like what was my like last major memory from the fall. It seems like I always have major changes in my life during the fall time. But I'm specifically remembering it was probably 3 years ago oh man, it's been more than that.
Yeah.
I used to be involved with a YouTube found footage TV show. Yes.
Yes.
You heard that right. A YouTube found footage TV show. Wait for it. It was found footage slasher horror genre.
Oh, perfect.
So it was like, think Blair Witch Project, but
Yeah.
worse.
Uh-huh.
I enjoyed Blair Witch. I did not enjoy
imagine
this
this, yeah.
show that much. Oh, it was...
So you're like on all the major networks, right? You're on like
No.
Sci-Fi,
Okay.
Discovery.
Here's the funny thing is, so like we made it onto, we actually did try to get on the Sci-Fi network. That didn't happen. We tried, we ended up getting on a local cable television network. Well, I say local, meaning their area of like their coverage area was local. It wasn't local to here. It was Erie, Pennsylvania.
Oh,
They actually contacted us.
Yeah.
And they got our show put on theirs on their network for a season. They had like this, it wasn't public access, but it was like some dude was running a local network.
it was a step up.
Yes.
It
It wasn't like PBS, but
Yeah.
it was like, it was in the realm
Right.
of, yeah,
Right.
it was in the realm of a Bob Ross PBS kind of local television station.
So
Wasn't he
that's
on
where your
PBS?
acting career kind of got its.
This is where it
start,
started,
right?
yeah.
This is the humble beginnings, right? Jason Hartzler
This is probably the peak.
starring on all these hit movies, just kind of blasting his career
yes.
off.
I did not win an Academy Award yet or an Oscar.
Was
but
that before
I
the
definitely
Oscar?
emailed them about it.
I think they
asked
missed you
them-
on their last show.
I asked them if they were going to get me nominated, like if they could get me nominated
Yeah.
for a specific role as a, what would you call that?
A supporting actor?
A supporting actor in a slasher horror found footage YouTube miniseries. Like if they have a category for that, I definitely could have gotten nominated. But they don't. Surprisingly, I sent them
Bummer,
that
man.
email and they said they actually didn't say anything. They didn't get back to me on that one. I just assume it got lost in the mail somewhere because I
must
feel
have.
like normally
They must have read it or something. They just
I mean, someone would respond to that.
somebody
That's
saw
pretty important,
it, right?
Yeah, I mean, actually, that channel. By the way, it was called. This is the worst though. The guy that's directing it, I can talk shit about him now because I burnt my bridges with that show utterly and completely. I will talk about it later on, but he was so bad at managing this thing. Like,
Did he have experience in film? Or
yes,
was he,
and the thing is, he does have experience. He's a good filmographer. He's a good editor, but he's a terrible director and writer.
Right.
Like he knows how things should be shot, and he knows what like this, but like he shouldn't be writing and he shouldn't be coordinating. He's great behind a camera. That's true. But what was I talking?
So how long was this miniseries? Or was it a miniseries?
It's still ongoing. It's still going.
Is it still
Can you
going?
believe it?
So it's still ongoing.
No, I got. And if you're wondering, I'm not on it anymore. That's why I'm gonna be shit talking it here in a second. I got kicked off of it 3 years ago.
Right.
I like willingly kicked myself off of it in the grand scheme of things. But no, I was on it for over a year, and it was funny because I got this little small fandom that was like obsessed with my character.
So it was an
for a short
honorable
time.
discharge.
No, it wasn't honorable.
Was
at
it
all.
not
Nothing
honorable?
about it was honorable. No, let's just say I did something that I knew would get me kicked off the show.
Okay.
And then I admitted to it because I knew. I was kind of burning bridges with that whole cast. I got really heavily involved with that cast and everyone involved in that production. The only reason I ended up on that show in the first part was because I ended up dating a girl that was the lead, and it was her uncle was the director for the show that started the whole thing.
Right.
And he asked me one day when I was there hanging out with her, because I was like watching her act, and he's like, hey man, I mean, he's a nice enough guy, and he was like, hey, you think you can act? Because he needed an extra. And I'm like,
Yeah.
sure, I think I can do that. And so he like threw me in the role of like the bad guy for the episode with like I had a mask on and everything.
Yeah.
Ended up doing that. It was awesome. I was like, it wasn't awesome. I meant it was awful because I was standing out in freezing rain. It was like 33 degrees. It was the perfect temperature for rain to not be snow, but
just
still
be
be freezing.
miserable. Yeah.
And I was standing outside a window, staring into the window at the lead actress, who was the girl I was dating at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like trying to act ominous or whatever in this ridiculous getup. That was just so. I was like, it was bad. And there's literally, I was just over. It was the gutters that were up there, and it was like dripping cold, freezing water on my face outside this window, and I'm just standing there, and they do take after take after take because they can't get it right, and I'm like, God
Because
damn
you're
it,
freezing
woman,
cold,
would you
right?
just say your lines properly? I'm just
Yeah.
standing here getting so cold because it was freezing. But eventually he's like, I was the bad guy for the first couple episodes, and I kept cycling into different bad guy roles because they always wore masks and stuff, so they didn't know it was me, obviously.
So this show was kind of like a horror series, right?
Yes. Can you imagine, like... Pardon me. Imagine, like, a mature ScoobyDoo mystery
Right.
with different, like, story arcs, right? Intermittently. And the characters are, like, this ragtag group. There's, like, 4 of us that
Right.
were the leads that would investigate different cases and solve them, essentially. But it was, like, mature. Like, it was, like, slasher. There was blood and gore and, like, people
So
cursing
obviously
and
this
people
wasn't-
smoking. And,
This wasn't a reality TV show. This was more of like a
It was
setup.
found footage, so there's always a sense of like it's supposed to feel like it's real.
Right.
And we were breaking the fourth wall constantly. Like we were talking about how like on the show we'd be filming ourselves and like we're gonna put this on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
That would be in the episode. So it would be like we were pretending that this was reality, like it was a Ghostbusters kind
But
of.
it didn't take itself too seriously. In other
Why?
words,
Me and
right?
people. I mean, we tried to.
Yeah.
Like there was like comedic relief because we were supposed to be playing real life human people, like not caricatures of people, but like we were supposed to feel like humans.
Yeah,
I don't know.
like you all had a
like you
role.
throw somebody into that role and expect them to act that way.
Yeah.
Not like throwing an
And
actor.
a lot of these people didn't have necessarily like big acting backgrounds. For some people, it was their start, right?
Well, I would say this, that like one of the guys on it had worked with the other actor besides me. There were 2 actors and 2 actresses that we were the leads. We had the main actress who I was dating. This was her first project with the director.
Mm-hmm.
Let's call him Dustin
Okay.
because that's his name. That was actually his name. I'm not
Was
even
it?
hiding
Okay.
that.
That's
And
fine.
then my ex was the lead, and then there was another guy and me, and then another girl. And the other guy and the girl were dating, and then me and the lead actress were dating. But it's funny because the character on the show, the character of the other guy was dating the lead, and the other girl was supposed to be interested in me on the show.
Oh, okay.
So you get the dynamics there.
I get it. I
that
get
would
it.
eventually-
Right, right.
That was something. And oh shoot, what was I saying? I was saying earlier that I started out as like these like random bad guys that get killed off at the end of the episode.
Yeah.
Eventually they made me a returning character. It was originally supposed to be just about the lead, and then eventually they transitioned that into a group of people, and then I showed up on their doorstep like with my shirt ripped off and like blood all over me, and like my face was completely like covered. Like they did this really good. They had really good makeup. The dude's wife did makeup, and it was really good. And they, like my entire eye was like had that like latex over it that like covered it.
Oh wow. So they
And it
went-
was like
Yeah, it
my
was-
entire eye looked like it was ripped off. I actually had to wear an eye patch.
an eye patch.
Yes. And the funniest part was that the eye patch was like supposed to, like eventually they find out that I didn't actually lose my eye, and I was like a traitor. I was
Yeah.
like a double agent for the bad people. But then I turned to the side of good. I know, great writing, right? And then it was just, I mean, long story short, because I could talk about this for forever. But we ended up, the crew ended up breaking up because like the other girl ended up leaving the country, and then she Skyped in to break up with her boyfriend during this whole ordeal. So we lost her off the show, and they broke up. So it was kind of awkward. But like
So
she
this
still wanted to
cast-
write for it, and then like the other dude and my girlfriend at the time were hanging out, and it like freaked me out. They were like hanging out and I wasn't around. It was like not cool with me, and we had another person join our show, and I may or may not have done things with that person. And then like
So this cast has been kind of alternating out, like different roles have been kind of changing over the years.
all of the original people that were on it are gone now. I left the show, and then the other 2 that were left on it eventually. I think they left the show. I haven't watched it since then, but from what I've heard from other people, that like they're not on it anymore. So we all moved on from it. None of the original cast members are on from it. I don't know how he wrote that. into existence because like none of the original cast members are on anymore. But yeah, we're all gone now.
So did they kind of like kill the cast members off in the storyline, or was it just kind of a new season?
They didn't kill me off. They said I ran away with the other character that had joined the show recently before and me and that character in real life might have had a situation go on that caused us to get kicked off of it. You know,
that's kind of what a lot of big production TV shows do when kind of like a character wants to retire or something. They make up this story arc of the character like dying.
It was bad too. They didn't even make up like a good. From what I heard, it was. They said I ran away with some character and stole some of their money.
Oh.
Like so that was that whole thing, and they tried to like edit in my face on a bad guy and kill me off later in the show. But I imagine the editing software they used wasn't that great, and they weren't great at it anyways. It's like found footage. How much can you do with that?
Right.
It was probably really horrendous. If I would look back at it, it would probably make me laugh. I haven't because I've moved on from it. But it's so funny to talk.
I mean, you gotta move on.
But I mean, I mean, more power to them because like I think they're doing all right. Last time I heard they had like 20,000 subscribers on YouTube.
They still got a subscriber base, right?
Yeah. I hear that the fans still ask about the old characters. Like my character, his name was Christian.
Yeah.
I came up with that name. I thought it was ironic. And
come on, don't be
his name was Christian Hartzler because my name that's similar to me.
Kind of similar, right?
It's in the realm.
It's
yeah, I mean it's like 50% of my name, man. But
it's almost there. People definitely don't know who you were. Yeah.
No. They apparently fans still ask about my character. Like, when is he ever gonna come back? I'm like,
okay.
No, guys, you don't understand. You don't understand what happened behind the scenes. Like,
you don't understand feelings.
There's real life drama going on behind there, and
so there was kind of like tension leading up to this whole split up.
I mean, no, because it was weird because we were all like friends, and we hung out together and stuff. And so it was kind of hard for me when it ended because I'm going to get a little serious right now, forewarning. But like we all got along and we all hung out together. And the other guy that I was on it with, me and him became pretty good friends. But it kind of got weird when my girlfriend, who I'd been together with for like a year at the time, she was the lead and she started hanging out with him like without me around. Mm-hmm. And it started to weird me out because like he was like standing me up and not hanging out with me anymore, but he would hang out with her, and that like was kind of weird to me because she had already cheated on me in her real life. So it was like a weird thing for me. I wasn't really cool with it at the time, especially because I was younger then and I was more protective. Like me now, I could give a shit.
So do you think you're gonna get back into this at all, like the whole like acting and?
Well, I mean, it's good that you mentioned that because I have. I'm going to take a quick commercial break because I have to piss so bad right now. You would not believe it.
Coffee's running straight through you.
Dude, it is going so far through me. I'm going to pause for a second for station identification, and then we'll be right back. And we're back.
Thank you
that was
to our sponsors that are non-existent.
We will insert those at a later date.
If you want to sponsor us, please contact us at amusedwiththeworldpodcast@gmail.com. Like I said earlier, please do not shitpost our email.
Please shitpost our email. We need content. We're desperate. I'm just kidding.
If you want to pitch in a little money our way, I'm not.
If you want to throw some cash,
we could probably get you like a
your
200
homeboy
by
could
200
definitely
spot.
use some of that cold hard. Yes.
I'm
gonna start calling cash cold hard.
No, we should just call it freedom dollars.
Just give me some of that cold hard.
Some of that cold hard.
Freedom dollars is really cryptocurrencies, though.
It kind of is.
Because it's non-regulated, no central government.
When you kind of think about it, is some of these cryptocurrencies are kind of thriving in these countries that are like China and some of the like Korea, where freedoms aren't necessarily like a big part of the culture like it is in America.
Korea definitely is. Korea, I mean, we're talking South Korea here. North Korea doesn't know what cryptocurrencies are. They're not allowed to know.
No, they're not allowed
South
to know.
Korea is, as far as the Asian countries go, it's just as liberal as Japan, or any other country that we freedom fucked into existence. So no, South Korea, they're pretty similar to the U.S. Other than the whole shadow government thing they got going on over there.
Oh yeah.
We could get into that on another episode. I've heard so much shit, but no, they're pretty democratic over there. There's no they're like polar opposite of North Korea, obviously. Get their whole
Well, they don't want to be North Korea, obviously.
so badly don't want to.
No.
They really want to be the U.S. That's why they have that K-pop. And that
There's definitely a
entertainment
pretty
industry.
big stark contrast between South Korea and North Korea.
Yeah, like one is not in
one
internment
just wants
camps.
to dominate the world, and the other one just wants to make like outlandish music and
Dude,
look
it's not
good.
outlandish. It's pretty awesome.
It's
Let's
pretty
not-
cool. All right, well, you know what? It's a little bit cooler than our music, I must
Yeah.
admit. It's a little
It's
bit.
so addictive, dude.
It kind of is.
When I first listened to it, I thought it was I'm like, wow, this is kind of fucking gay. But then I wouldn't stop listening to it. And then I was like, this is gay but addictive.
You got me into it, and compared to some of the music nowadays.
Let me clarify. I started out by getting into K-pop for some reason. I didn't tell anybody. It was kind of a weird moment in my life, but I've transitioned into Korean hip hop.
What's wrong with this guy?
And okay, a lot of things. Where do you want to start? The list is long.
Start a list right here. Just do it right now.
Korean hip hop, I think, is actually a step ahead of American hip hop right now. I think it's thriving and it's great. There's a huge community behind it that's really growing it, and I think there's a ton of talented artists, and they do a lot of collaborations. There's not as much beef between people, and they're not putting out bullshit like Fetty Wap and Young Thug or whatever the fuck's popular right now. Lil Yachty. Yeah, that shit. Okay, I don't want to, if you enjoy that music, that's fine. I don't want to step on anybody's toes, but I just think it's garbage. But I will listen. Okay, if I'm slightly intoxicated at a party, if you want to turn on some Fetty, I'm definitely gonna jam to it. I will definitely jam to it. I'll enjoy every second
down with
of
some
it.
Fetty.
But if I'm sober, I don't want anything to do with it. Yeah. So unless it's Tuesday, listen to some McKeenan.
Maybe in a different life, I could listen to it just completely sober. Just kind of jam out. Yeah, this is some Fetty, man. I can get down with this. I can get down with some Fetty.
Oh. Ugh. So oh man, before I went to that bathroom break there, we were talking about how if I've gotten into acting since I'm sorry, I'm looping this around. This has nothing to do with what that sidebar we just got on, but I was talking about the acting stuff I've gotten into recently. It reminded me of other falls, since we're talking about fall. Was it two years ago? Friend that we worked with, Zach. He's a Christian rapper, friend of mine, and he was a coworker of yours, and he did a music video, and he asked me to be an extra on it because they were missing somebody. And he's like, hey, I heard you used to act. I'm like, yeah. I hadn't acted in a year, so I was desperate to get back into it.
Right.
And so I ended up being one of the actors on his music video.
It's not just the desperation though. You kind of wanted to be.
I say video. Desperate. I really wanted to get back into it because I really enjoyed it when it was there, and I felt like it was lacking because I didn't have any opportunities to get back into it since then. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't call it desperation. It's not like I needed it, but I really wanted it. Yeah. So. Because I like being the center of attention, I just pretend I don't.
Yeah, and Zach's a good friend too. He's always been a nice guy.
He's a good guy.
He's a good guy.
I feel bad for him. He's dying, but
he's a nice guy.
We're probably gonna have him on the podcast, but because I've mentioned it to him and he wants to be on it. But
yeah, he's got to.
Until then. Anyways, so he asked me to be on his music video, and he's a Christian rapper, and he's talented. He really is. I've heard some of his stuff. It's good.
Yeah, I've heard some of his stuff too.
Good shit.
He actually gave us a CD at work of some of his most recent stuff.
Did you really?
Yeah, he gave our boss Ken a CD.
Your dad.
My dad.
Your dad Ken.
Yeah, he gave him a CD of some of his most recent tracks. Well, I say our boss Ken because
that's the professional thing to say.
That's the professional thing.
You don't go to work and go, Daddy, 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 Daddy,
Can we get some ice cream?
Can we get some ice cream? Ooh,
I can start into that.
Hey, Dad, we just did the work that we're totally paid to do already. Can we get ice cream?
Can we get ice cream?
Oh, kill me.
I could get into that,
kill me.
but I'm not.
Oh,
I'm
let's
not.
not today. Not
It's
today,
not.
man.
I could start some rumblings.
Oh, dude, that was start so much drama.
I could start some rumblings, but
But anyways, oh man. So he asked me to be on his music video, and that was interesting. I've never been in a music video before. But
so did you kind of shoot it with him, or how did that go?
oh, okay. So I didn't know anybody else that was gonna be on this video, and we all just like showed up in Canton on the same day, met up at like a coffee shop, and I didn't really know what to think because I hadn't filmed in so long. But I was like, I felt kind of cool though because I was the only one there that had like a long. Not like a long list of acting experiences, but I was on a show for over a year, and I eventually helped, choreograph and do a little of the writing and stuff while I was in that, heavily involved in that, and we were filming like weekly on that show, so I was used to it, and so I showed up and I could like give my input, and even the director was deferring to me on some things. He was asking for what I thought about things. Okay, and that helped because like when you slip me into a leadership role, I kind of like run with it. I kind of like enjoy that.
You're so mature, man.
Oh, thanks, dude. I try. I do
You're
what I
such-
can.
You're such a manly man. You take charge when you need to.
Yeah, make me blush.
Yeah,
make me blush, boy.
Yeah, I mean you're the older one here, so you got some experience in you.
Yeah.
You're a multifaceted individual.
All right, don't jerk me off too much.
You got your
There's a
talents.
girl in the room. Don't make her jealous. She was laughing over there. Anyways, no, okay. So the experience was this. I walk into a coffee shop, and Zach's the only person I know there. And I got to meet everybody there. I'm like, oh, what's going on? I was the businessman for this music video. There were set roles for this. There was like a businessman, there was like some college student, and then there was like some girl being peer pressured into drinking by her friends. It was like, imagine a Christian music video, and each person tells a different story about how they're not connecting to God and they're putting something else first in life. Okay. I was the overzealous businessman, so I had this. I was dressed really well, and so I had some. I felt all right. My motto is, you dress good, feel good, do good.
Well, you're already in your element right there.
I was already, because I was already dressed well. Yeah. So, no, but I didn't know anybody there. But it went well. I still film with those people, and they're really good people. I like them. Because then that went really well. We were filming downtown Canton. It was weird though, because like it's kind of busy, and there are random people like staring at us while we're doing this. And you got Zach, this white boy, just like rapping in the middle of the street,
this is like Northeast
yo,
Ohio.
Jesus Christ.
Nobody's used to this.
Yeah.
Like, what are these people doing here with
like,
cameras?
Oh
Should we call the cops or something?
It was
Is
funny.
MTV Cribs here?
This one guy stopped us. He's like, "Oh, what are you guys doing?" And he's like, this guy apparently had produced like some kind of subgenre he was trying to put mainstream that was like rap country. And he like stopped us, and then he was like asking us what we were doing, and then he like really wanted to tell us what he was into, because he saw us filming a music video, and he was like, "Oh yeah, this is what I was doing." And then he he's like, "You want me to?" He's like, "You want me to freestyle in front of you?" And we're like,
"Yeah,
hell yeah!"
Get some bars, man.
Like, yeah, and so he like starts doing his little like. Can you imagine rap country
doing his thing?
Now imagine rap country freestyle.
So there's gotta be some trucks.
He got embarrassed and had to stop halfway through and then like zip out of there.
There's
He's like, "Oh, I couldn't do it in front of
jeans.
people," and then like walked away.
There's got to be some terrible relationships. There's some blue jeans. There's
some Friday nights with some Bud Lights.
Yeah, and some jeans that just fit just right.
And there's some country fried too.
Some chicken taters. How can you freestyle about that,
dude? Well, he lasted a couple lines, and then he took the quickest route to get out of the situation, because I think he was incredibly embarrassed once he got into the moment. We're all staring at him. No, he tried freestyling for a bit, and then he zipped out of there. So we're like, okay, well, next scene.
You get a gold star for trying. You tried.
It was weird, because this guy looked like really city too.
Yeah.
We're like, this guy's country rap, really? Okay. And
I hope that genre doesn't go mainstream.
Oh, dude,
country
it's already
rap.
Starting, man.
It's kind of getting there.
We've heard some of those songs.
There was one with Nelly with Florida Georgia Line.
Oh, what a terrible.
Where they kind of just crossed that up. Then you heard it on the pop stations.
You know, if there is ever the epitome of combining two things that don't belong together and ruining both of them, that is it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think you just hit it right in the head there.
I tend to do that. Wink, wink. Nudge, nudge.
But I think they're just trying to get into the more broad brush audience of we know we're going to be pop and country, so we can be on both radio stations, right?
And honestly, what it turns into is both people hate it. You know, you get the people that listen to rap and the people that listen to country, they both end up hating it, I think.
There's also people...
There's some crossover.
There's some people that just listen to it as background music, too. There's people that just have
people
it on
that
the
don't have a
radio.
choice because they're at their job, and that's just what has to be on the radio station because
Yeah.
that's the only radio station that comes in. Yeah, those people. Yeah, I'm not bitter about that at all.
They're not going to name any names or anything.
Sign design. So, oh man. So, no, it went well, and that was the situation, and that turned into a situation where I knew everybody in the group. I didn't become like really close with them, but I've worked with them now. We're colleagues now. We've done a couple projects together, and after that, it was like about a year later, I got contacted by the director of that because he was interested in doing something with some new gear that he got a hold of. He got a hold of like cinema level like equipment because he films and stuff with his job, because I think he's in like advertising for a specific company. He does like their commercials maybe and stuff like that.
Okay.
And so he's got all this equipment available, and he's really good at, you know, cinematography and filmography and stuff like that. And so he's like, hey, I was thinking, are you guys interested in like doing a show or doing like a small like short for like a weekend? Because I'm gonna have this gear for, you know, this amount of time. I want to do something with it.
Sure.
And everybody was like, hell yeah. Actually, all these people are like, heck yeah, because like
Like we said, yeah.
I'm just the destitute individual in that group, but you know, they're enjoyable people. And we ended up, I actually volunteered to write something for that, and it was funny. I wrote, actually it wasn't that funny because I wrote it, but
Come on.
it
Don't
was
be
like
so
my
hard on
first
yourself.
original work, and I'm so embarrassed.
You got to start somewhere.
I wrote a short film that ended up being like 15 minutes long. That was like a cult group that has a meeting, and they're being investigated by this undercover cop that happens to be in the group, and he's getting initiated. They don't know he's a cop. They like figure out halfway through because he like reveals himself. But it's supposed to be like this like dark comedy, like really dry humor, like think Monty Python-esque.
Right.
And oh yes, I thought it was funny. It didn't come off as funny as I wrote it because it was my first original work. We'll just say that. But I mean, we all had fun though. We filmed it all in one night, and so I think everybody
So you got to
enjoyed
cut
themselves.
yourself a little bit of slack because, you know, it was kind of your first draft at this point.
Yes.
So, you know, like it wasn't really like a spur of the moment thing though, where you just kind of just had this idea.
We planned
in your
it
head.
out.
So you kind of planned it out a little bit.
I definitely wrote it in like an hour
Yeah.
and a half. I put it all. I'm not gonna lie. Oh, and I know the director I worked with. I think he likes this podcast, so he's probably gonna see this. But it's not that bad. But I definitely, if he's listening to this, I'm sorry, Matt. I wrote that in like an hour and a half the night before I needed to have that done. I put it off. I really did procrastinate on that, but then I revised it the next day too. So I was on top of things at least then. I got scripts out to people like a week before we shot, maybe 2 weeks before we shot the film, so I don't think it was too bad.
So you shot it though, at least, right?
Oh yeah, we finished it.
Yeah.
I think Matt's still editing it.
Oh,
I'll have to
yeah.
get back to him on that. It's been about a year.
Yeah,
but
I'll just get back to you.
yeah. No, last time I saw some previews from it, and it looked really good. He definitely polished my crappy work for sure. He did a good job. No, we worked together again this past summer. Actually, we did like a mockumentary, like The Office, kind of for
Right.
this one afternoon. I think that was back in like June. Yeah, it was this year, and it turned out well. I thought it was funny. It was like a comedy. It was like The Office, kind of. People.
Okay.
It was about a group of people that were going to film something.
But it was self-aware.
You were breaking the fourth wall because it's supposed to be like,
Right.
we're in front of the camera, we're looking directly at the camera, like talking to the camera. And so there was like the interviews and stuff between shots.
So
and
the
stuff
influence
like that.
was there from The Office.
Yes, definitely. That was a big influence.
Yeah.
But no, I thought that one went well, and I didn't write that one, so it probably went better.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so I've kept somewhat busy on these projects. I have one on the back burner that I really want to do that I've been sitting on for about a year and a half that I've been thinking about. I told you the synopsis for that one. The one about the private investigator that works in a small town but gets in over his head.
That's right. We were talking about the secret societies and whatnot.
Yeah, he starts to. The idea is there's a private investigator that is kind of like an idiot in a sense.
Right.
And he's like, he
But
opens
he's a
up
lovable idiot, right?
Yeah, lovable idiot, like a likable Michael Scott,
Okay.
for instance, from The Office. But like, he's somewhat competent, but he starts in a private investigation business in a small town and ends up like, he's just like working like with like cheating spouses and things of that nature at first, insurance fraud, those kind of things. And he's not making enough money, so he like solicits like a Craigslist ad for like people to film him for like an ad.
Yeah.
But like to follow him around on investigations and used it as like a found footage, real life advertisement for his business to bring in more. And he ends up getting like these college students from some film class to do this as like their senior project or something like that. And they like follow him around, and he ends up getting involved in like, he ends up accidentally running into a murder case that gets way out of control, and it like, he gets way in over his head. Like it turns into like this underground society that he figures out with like all these people, like politics and small town like murder cases, and it all ends up intertwining in this like
conspiracy theories.
Yeah. So and it just gets out of hand, and he's just in over his head. But that's just, yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of the misconception about small towns, is that they're just kind of quaint and nothing really goes on. When you kind of really look into it, you know, there's some whales in this town, and there's some small fries. You know, some of the organizations that just kind of run everything.
Yeah, there's those in like when you get down to it, like every small town has that like like one or two families that really run shit.
Yeah, like everyone knows.
Dude,
you know,
I mean, you got Wooster here, and I'm gonna throw some shade right now. You know the Galts run everything in this town. The Galts do.
And
you
the
got
Nobles.
The Nobles, the Buellers of the area. Like as far as, you know, talking small town politics, they're like top of the list here in Worcester, and I could talk so much smack about.
Yeah, and then you got like the Brennemans and the school board.
Oh my god, dude! I want so badly to like start going to those meetings and stuff as just a concerned citizen and just throwing so much shade at these people.
Write this big like essay on like why these people should go.
As a citizen of this town, I just want to express my concern
about. Let you guys know how I feel.
I just want to troll them, really. I just want to.
Yeah. Just something completely unexpected, like vote for me for class president.
Like what?
just walking there, like vote Jason Harsler class president.
Part of me has wanted to run for mayor just to throw shit. Like
that too. You
get like 5 votes.
Yeah, you could wear a boot on your head like that one guy who's running for governor in New York.
Dude, he runs every year.
What was his name?
Oh.
It was so obscure. I don't really remember it.
I don't know, but he definitely got he had a good amount of votes.
Media attention, that's for sure.
He gets it like every time he runs.
Yeah,
because he runs like every time. He's like Ralph Nader, but he just won't go away.
No.
Is Ralph Nader still alive? I remember the running joke when I was a kid is that dude runs every time and never gets any votes as a third party candidate. I don't know.
It's kind of like that with every third party candidate, though. They kind of just run
except Ron Paul.
Except Ron
Paul 2012.
Ron Paul,
dude. I'm sorry, I was all up on the Ron Paul bandwagon.
Such an inspiration.
I love that guy. I love him and all the gifs that are.
Oh yeah, like the
It's happening gif where he's just like waving his hand. I love him.
I think everyone knows that one. Yeah. When anything exciting happens, the Ron Paul gifs there. It's happening.
They bust that shit out real quick. No, yeah, it's. I thought it'd be funny to try and get on the Worcester City Council because it's nothing but It's like, okay, it's like nothing but you either like old business owner or you're like a wife of an old like successful business owner.
Right.
Like, and I just want to stir the pot a little bit, you know, and throw some youth into it, you know, because I kind of get annoyed at the city council. I don't know anything about them, but from what I've heard, as someone that knows nothing about the situation,
Right.
I do want to stir the pot. I want to get in there and cause a little bit of a ruckus.
This town's a little bit behind the time.
But I'm pretty sure you need to be nominated for that. You can't just like, it's not like an open vote. It's like
you know, I
have
think
to
you
get.
can talk on certain topics.
Well, you can talk on topics,
I think
but you
there's an
can't get
open
onto
panel
the.
as well.
You can't get onto the council unless
No.
someone else like recommends you or something.
Maybe it's like
that. I
renting
don't
a
know.
car where you got to be like 30 something.
It's probably.
Like, sir, can we check your ID, please, before you come up to the podium and talk?
Sir, you look like a 14-year-old
I don't think we can
prepubescent
trust
male.
you. No, your chest hairs haven't fully developed. Get off stage. You don't have any influence here at all.
Oh,
Ladybird.
Ladybird. We have had way too much coffee, man.
Too much coffee.
Dude, it's too much.
Shout out to Maxwell House for supplying.
Yes, I want to shout out to Maxwell House for
coffee.
their new extra caffeine blend.
The Max blend.
Max blend. It's got 1.75% or not percent times the caffeine that they normally have in their cups of coffee.
Insane.
So yes, so I'm a little wired right now.
You look a little wiry. Look a little
Dude,
hype, man.
3 or 4 glasses of bourbon and 2 cups of coffee later, and I'm like good to go, dude.
That'll do you.
Surprisingly, it will do me.
And then you'll crash a couple hours later.
That's true. I will.
Oh, where am I? Oh, what year is this? Morty, where am I?
Morty, is it 2012? Are we alive, Morty?
Yeah, weren't you saying earlier that there's this conspiracy theory out there that the world actually ended in 2012?
Yes. The idea is that the world did end in 2012, and we simultaneously moved into a simulation as soon as it ended, and we just haven't noticed it yet. But, like, let's be honest, people. Does it honestly feel like anything has been real life since 2012?
It feels a
when you
little
look back on it, you have a reality TV star becoming president of the United States. I don't care what side of politics you're on. That's incredible. You have a Cleveland team winning a championship. And in the same year, you have another Cleveland team making it to a championship game. How the hell does that happen in the same year? And then you have the Chicago Cubs, who hadn't won in 100 years, winning a World Series. And this all happened since then. What else has happened since 2012 that just doesn't even seem realistic? I know there's been other shit.
I think Alex Jones just needs to make a big presentation on this, because it can be a conspiracy.
That's
theory.
true. I feel like since then, yeah, the frogs have become gay since 2012.
There's been a lot of gay frogs. I think it's because of the
frogs.
tap water, though. Once we eliminate the tap water, there's going to be no more gay frogs.
Scary. You gotta drink alkaline water, people. Like, what are you doing?
You got to get that pH balance just perfect there. Otherwise, it's going to make you a gay frog.
Honestly, we just need to have Alex Jones on the show. Can we do that? Can we organize that? Alex, please, if you're out there, if you're listening to
our
this,
passion and our enthusiasm, I think he'll understand.
yes. Honestly, we could have one mic on the show and put him in front of it and just sit back and like let him go for like an hour.
With Alex Jones.
Dude, yes. Oh my goodness.
You know what? We could
Alex, if you're out there,
we could just have him do the podcast.
yeah, and
We
just
wouldn't have
profit
to
from it.
talk. He could just talk for 45 minutes straight.
Whether you think the dude is nuts or funny or whatever, you have to admit the dude's entertaining as shit.
Definitely. Like, he can hold these rallies for like an hour straight and just go on and on about
He's
his
always
agenda.
like, we're skipping the next commercial break. I got something I gotta tell you guys. This is too important. We're skipping it. I don't even care. All right, this just happened. We just got news in. This is big.
This is big. The government is corrupt.
We
Trump's
need to talk
gonna be
about
president.
the swamp. These people, the globalists have taken over. I love that guy.
The Alex Jones personality leading up through this election has been probably his best.
Do you think it's a shtick, or do you think he's actually like that in real life?
I think he's just as intense as he is on the show.
You think?
I think he is.
Do you think it's all
how
that
do you
super
hold-
male vitality that he takes that like keeps him
might
like
be.
at like peak
You know, it might
peak
be
performance?
Like this is peak performance.
Like that dude never lets
No matter
up.
what you think. No, he doesn't let up. I think the dude is as passionate he is on the show as he is in real life. I think that he's just hardcore to the bone. This just conservative like.
Speaking of bones, do you think he like when it like goes home to his wife at night? All right, honey, what we're gonna do tonight is we're gonna have sex. No, we're skipping this break. We're gonna keep going. 2 hours strong. We're gonna keep going. I took my super male vitality today. We're gonna keep going. All right, honey, I need you to switch positions. It's really big. Because of the globalist. We never know when the world's going to end, so we're just going to need to get as much sex in tonight as we can. This is super important. All right.
So
so
his Viagra is like the super male vitality, right?
Oh, boy.
So he pops a couple iodine pills and takes his super male vitality, and that's his Viagra.
Yes.
That and his overtly enthusiastic
That dude's got so much
personality.
testosterone, he doesn't even need Viagra.
Now, have you seen him with his shirt off?
Dude, what a beefy man.
The dude's ripped, right?
He's
Right?
swole.
I think he can kind of put that all to his super male vitality, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. No, he's like got the weirdest. He looks like a barrel.
He does.
He looks like a barrel with arms. You know,
He's
you
like
ever
a super
played the-
aggressive barrel.
You ever play the Donkey Kong games? You had all the different characters. There was like Donkey Kong, there was like Diddy Kong, there was like Lanky and Tiny. They have one Chunky Kong. He looks like Chunky. Legit in
That's
real
awesome.
life. He looks like Chunky Kong. Yes.
That's a
Shout
good
out to
comparison.
Chunky Kong. It's my favorite character.
That's a good comparison. Let me look up.
Look up
Chunky
look up a
Kong.
picture of Chunky. Dude, I swear he looks exactly like Chunky. Like the shape of him, if you can imagine.
Chunky Kong. Let's see it here. Oh my goodness.
Right? It's like 1-to-1. That's him, right? That's Alex Jones.
That's Alex
Is it
Jones. That's him.
Can we, dude? We need to get him on the show and be like, dude, are you Chunky Kong IRL?
Are you really Chunky Kong?
We think you are. Is it a globalist conspiracy? Is Chunky a globalist conspiracy?
You might be. You might. I'm just looking at Chunky Kong right now.
I can't even bring this up with a straight face.
I
It's too
can.
funny.
I can get pretty serious about Chunky Kong. He looks like a serious dude. He looks. Let me look at this. Chunky Kong, right?
Yeah.
He looks like he has some ideas about like global politics, right?
Yeah. He looks like he wants to drain the swamp for sure.
Yeah, he wants to drain the swamp. Look at that big burly chest and that blue jacket. He's even wearing his hat backwards. That's how cool he is.
He's just like me. Plus
Yeah, you're
300 pounds.
and he's a gorilla.
And he's a gorilla also. There's a difference there. But, I mean... Anyways, oh, man. What's the time at? Oh, man. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're about at that point where
Okay.
we're going to start wrapping it up because we're at
I'm
like
not just a
52
cheap
minutes.
prostitute, Jason. You can't just throw me away.
Yeah, well, this is why I pay you $10 an hour.
You don't pay me.
I know.
I'm here against my will, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. I forced you to become my roommate, actually. People don't know that. Yeah.
It might have been consensual. I'm not pressing charges either way.
What? Okay, sometimes we take jokes and go a little far. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen.
I don't apologize for anything.
That's true. That is true. Anyways, this was weird. One, that's what bourbon does to you and coffee mixed together. It's been good hanging out with you guys tonight. I just want to let you know before we get going that you can contact us or send us an email at amusedwiththeworldpodcast@gmail.com. That is amusedwiththeworldpodcast@gmail.com. If you want to send in a interesting story or just a funny topic you want us to talk about, you can contact us that way, and hopefully I will read it if I get around to it and definitely talk about it on the podcast. So even if you don't give a shit about what we're saying here, you can tune in and listen to us talk about something that you sent in. You can feel important for about 10 seconds. So
It's about as long as it lasts anyway.
I'm going to be putting us on Spotify and iTunes here shortly. So if you're annoyed with the whole YouTube thing, we will also have that available for you soon. Is there anything you want to add before we close this out?
I'd like to thank our loyal viewers out there for tuning in each and every week. All the YouTube views and fame we've been getting recently. I gotta contribute it.
Shouts out,
man. As Fitz might say.
Shouts
out, man. Shouts out to the
man.
guys.
We're 3 episodes deep, fellas.
We're moving up in the rankings.
Yeah, man. We're getting there. I can't wait till we get into the double digits.
We'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there. Anyways,
thanks for tuning in, guys.
Yeah, we enjoyed you taking your time out of the day to listen to us. Just do what we do. Anyways, as usual, have a great night. Peace be with you.
Don't drink and drive.
Bless up. Yes, don't drink and drive. Thank you.
Drive.
That's what we always say. And also, I would add to that, nothing good happens after midnight.
That's true.
Yeah.
Don't be out there after midnight.
Never.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye.
Signing off.